Hello everybody, I'm just here to show you some of our new books that we're sending home each week with your child as their home readers, and just to give you a little bit of an explanation. Sometimes it's easier to see them in action, so I hope it's helpful for you. Your child will be coming home with 2 books each week, as your class teacher will already have let you know. As a school now, we're exclusively following the ELS phonic teaching, and we really carefully using the books now to support our teaching of phonics and help your child progress with their reading. So the reading books that they'll be coming home with, they'll be labelled. So they'll come home with 2 books, and one of the books will be labelled as an I read book. And one of the books that they'll come home with will be labelled as a Read With Me book. Now, as you can see, I've put some just out on the table here. There's different schemes within that, but the particular thing that's important about the I Read book is that the books are really honed in on the sounds that your child's been working on that week. In reception, they're working progressively through those sounds. In year 1, we may be going back to particular sounds with your child to review them and revise them if we feel there's gaps in their learning. But these books will have the sounds that your child has been looking at that particular week. So this book, the Little Blending books, have got them on the front, but you might find if you look at the back of some of the other stories, they've got them on. They've got the phonic focus on the back, and they've also got these high frequency words that we're calling harder to read and spell words. Okay, so your child will come home with the I Read book, and this book we're expecting them to read on their own. So this will only include sounds that they will have learned in the past, or the sounds that they're learning this week. So it's a really good reinforcement of those sounds, really good practice of the sounds they're working on, that they can work on with you. The Read With Me book is one that we don't expect them to read on their own. It's labelled Read With Me, we're expecting them to share it with you. Now, the colour band that the children we previously used, it's the same colour band as the I Read book. However, it will include sounds that they won't have come across before, so they won't be familiar with. So we're not expecting them to be able to read all the words. So this is something that you might choose a sentence to read yourself, or you might choose particular words to ask your child to help sound out, or you might read a sentence and they read it back to you, but it's something that you definitely share with them. These are really useful for helping them with extending their comprehension skills, giving them more access to other types of stories. Again, just something, again, lovely just to share a book with your child. So that's what this one's for. With the I Read books, we ask you could read those with your children 4 times, and that does seem like a lot, but we found, and as part of our ELS scheme, that repetition really helps build confidence and helps build that fluency. So what we've suggested to do is, when you get your 2 books in your child's book bag, your class teacher will write the name down of the 2 books, the I Read book and the Read With Me book, somewhere in your child's reading record, and then for you to read 4 times that I Read book. Now, obviously, especially with the longer ones, as they become longer, it's difficult for your child to maintain concentration and read them from the beginning to the end, depending on your child, obviously. So if you only read part of the book, that's absolutely fine. And for the first read through, for example, I've just put here, read to page 5 and used the I sound, used his I sound. So a little comment about maybe something they've particularly picked up on and used well, or something maybe they struggled with, just so we've got a bit of feedback, we know something we can practice at school. And then the second time round, we found it's really useful if you start back at the beginning of the book, and if they're rereading the book, the bits they've already read, again, it helps build their confidence and their fluency, and they really enjoy the being able to read it from last time. So I've put reread from the start of the book to page 9, more fluency at the start. So again, just a short comment about how they got on. The third time when you're reading it, again, just date next to when you read it the third time. You might get to the end that time, okay? Again, it depends on what book level your child's on. Some of them are shorter, some of them are longer. And that might be the point when you read to the end that you talk about adding expression and modelling for your child, showing how should the sentence sound. Rather than it being quite robotic, can you show them how you can use that expression when you're reading it? And the 4th time, again, reread it through again. And in the books, you'll find that lots of the books inside them, for example, this one, they've actually got specific pages with questions on. I'm just trying to find one here now, like this one here. So it gives you some ideas of questions you can ask as you're going through the book. So that might be, when you're reading it through that last time, a good opportunity to look through those questions. And some of the books, when you look in the front cover, they've got some ideas again of words to look for, to practice with them, and during reading, some things you could do with your child. Just gives you some ideas of how you could extend them on that 4th time with that 4th read. So when you've read the I Read book 4 times, you've also got obviously the Read With Me book. And again, just a short comment, how they got on. Did they pick out a particular sound perhaps, or was there a sentence that they blended really well? Again, just a short comment, and it just lets us know a bit of feedback about how they got on. But reading those 4 times, really important with that I Read book. Really important for them to make those sounds really concrete and build up that fluency.